There was one campaign event that Donald Trump did last week, and it was in Mosinee, Wisconsin. And this is one where Donald Trump promised blood, speaking behind a glass box so thick that now it's reflective and it's hard to even see Trump because you see the reflections of the crowd in front of him. It's crazy now that this is what's going on. Maybe just do indoor rallies, you know, if you're this scared after the shooting incident. And listen, I would be. I mean, I'm not criticizing him for it. It's just the speaking inside of the thick glass box is not going so well. Donald Trump says that when he starts the mass deportations, it will be bloody.
You're radicals headed up by a radical governor in Colorado that has no clue how to solve this influx of crime into his state. And by the way, Colorado's one state. It's much worse in other states. But in Colorado, they've taken over. I mean, in Colorado, they're so brazen, they're taking over sections of the state. And, you know, getting them out will be a bloody story. Should have never been allowed to come into our country. Nobody checked them. Nobody checked. Were they criminals? Were they from jails?
Getting them out will be a bloody story. Now, of course, then the Trump suck-ups will start saying, washing this and say, no, he meant bloody metaphorically, and it was sarcasm, and he was joking, and wait a second. So what's the explanation? Tell me again. Here's what Donald Trump really meant when he said, getting them out will be bloody. Trump completely and totally unintelligible in just about every way. Again, talking about Hannibal Lecter during the speech.
And then the press, when I say Dr. Hannibal Lecter, the press says, oh, why did he mention that? They're wise guys back there, just wise guys. They say he rambled and started talking about Hannibal Lecter. What does that have to do? That's a representative of people that are coming into our country. Dr. Hannibal Lecter, he will have you for dinner, you know?
Right. And again, we're still trying to figure out the whole thing. My best guess right now is when Trump talks about people. Well, it's so crazy, but the best thing I figured out is people come to the U.S. seeking asylum. And Trump seems to think that that means they are coming from, quote, insane asylums, like Hannibal Lecter in the movie Silence of the Lambs. That's my best guess as to what the hell Trump is talking about at this point in time. I can't do any better than that, but it seems to be what he's referring to. Trump again telling this lie that kids go to school and they get gender affirming surgeries in school.
Can you imagine you're a parent and your son leaves the house and you say, Jimmy, I love you so much. Go have a good day in school. And your son comes back with a brutal operation. Can you even imagine this?
It's hard to imagine because it's not happening. This is not how gender affirming surgery works. You can believe whatever you want to believe about gender affirming care, about individuals who are transgender, about pronouns, about verbs, about adjectives. You can believe whatever you want to believe. But Trump's own campaign was not able to provide a single example of a school secretly sending a kid for gender affirming surgery without parental consent. It's never happened, okay? They couldn't find a single example of it. And experts have said, not only hasn't it happened, it could not happen based on the way gender affirming care works. Trump talking about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he says Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is so good on medical stuff that he wants RFK on some kind of panel. This is going to be a very scary panel.
We will establish a panel of top experts to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic health problems and childhood diseases, including the autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and much more. And Bobby's going to be very much involved in that. We're going to get him involved because that's what he likes. That's what he's great at. Isn't it great to have a Kennedy with us? Isn't that nice? And this is really, I mean, I don't want to disrespect the rest of the family, but this has been the dominant Kennedy for the last 25 years, you know.
Certainly he would like to believe that. Of course, I remember Ted Kennedy more recently than 25 years ago having a pretty significant impact. Yeah, so listen, I don't know what RFK Jr. heading up some kind of medical panel would be like. I don't know if it's raw milk for everybody and no vaccines. They also love to pretend like we have absolutely no idea why we are seeing so much chronic disease when we have a pretty good idea about a lot of elements. Nutrition and, junk food and processed food seems to be one aspect of it. Number two, environmental factors, which the very same people who go, oh, we're having chronic disease, we don't know why. Well, you also don't want regulation for businesses when it comes to pollution. And we know about cancer, alleys, and all of these different things. That's another factor. People living longer in general, even though we've seen this shorter term decline in life expectancy in the United States, tragically, in general, as life expectancy goes up, we move from infectious disease as a cause of death to chronic disease. Disease is associated more with living longer rather than premature death. I could go on, but the point is they act like it's a complete mystery and then kind of want to point to vaccines when we have at least an initial framework for what is causing a lot of these problems. Trump glitching and referring to Elon Musk as Leon Musk.
Boeing had a little, I shouldn't say there's a beautiful Boeing plane there, but Boeing had a little hard time, as you heard. So they're going to save, Leon's going to send up a rocket.
Exactly. Leon will soon be sending a rocket up into the air. And then Donald Trump failing when he tried to do his tampon Tim about Tim Walz joke, which is a failed joke anyway. He couldn't quite get tampon.
Her running mate, tampon Tim.
Tampon. It's like, remember Tan Mom? This is tampon, which is a different thing. And then Trump, while speaking behind bulletproof glass, saying that he will defend the Second Amendment. Whoops, I lost the video here. Hold on, let's go back. Here it is.
We'll defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections once and for all.
Right. Trump demanding more guns in the hands of more people whilst he speaks from a box of bulletproof glass. And then finally, apocalyptically, Trump saying, if I don't win, it's going to be very, very bad.
I better win, or you're going to have problems like we've never had. We may have no country left. It may be our last election. You want to know the truth? People have said that. This may be our last election. You got to get out and vote. This could be.
Mostly people are saying this might be the last election if Trump wins, which I also find to be hyperbolic, but Trump seemingly misunderstanding that. Scary, apocalyptic, dystopian vision. A stark contrast to the positive vision being articulated by Kamala Harris and by Tim Walz. The hope is that this contrast comes through in tomorrow night's debate and really influences voter sentiment. I will be live starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night for the debate on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. I hope you'll join me. Let's take a quick break, and then I'm finally coming clean about the Russian influencer money scandal. So I have a friend, I'm not going to say who, has a cat. I'd go over to his house, and the cat's food would stink. Let's be honest. I would sometimes feed it a couple of times, and I would just dread it because of the smell of the food. If you're still feeding your cat that low quality stuff, check out our sponsor, Smalls. Smalls cat food has protein-packed recipes made only with preservative-free, human-grade ingredients that you'd find in your fridge. That's why veterinarians.org rates Smalls 10 out of 10 for ingredient quality, and it is delivered right to your door. My friend told me their cat likes Smalls way more than the old cat food. I can confirm it smells way better. Smells like something humans would eat. And that's really the point. Other cat food brands put their wallets first. They fill their quote-unquote food with mysterious meat byproducts and artificial flavoring and colors and preservatives. Feed your cat the human-grade food they deserve. Head to smalls.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman at checkout for 50% off your first order and free shipping. The link is in the description.